Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith, and welcome to my review of the new film, Welcome to Marwen. This is the new film from director Robert Zemeckis, the same guy behind films such as Forrest Gump and Back to the Future. This is one of those films I was really looking forward to because the trailer just looked really interesting to me. Now, I know some people looked at the trailer and said to themselves, well, this looks really goofy, but I kind of fell on the side of looks kind of interesting. In the trailer, we saw Steve Carell, who plays Mark Hogancamp, and he's got these dolls. And these dolls are basically set in World War II in Belgium, and they're fighting Nazis. And Mark Hogancamp basically had these dolls representing different people in his life, and he had these dolls as basically for therapeutic reasons because he was going through a trauma in his own. You see, this is actually based on a true story, and Welcome to Marwen is based on, comes from the life of Mark Hogancamp. And in his own life, what happened was he was viciously beaten one night, in a coma, no memory when he came out of it. He wasn't able to do the things that he was able to do before for employment, which was be an artist and using his hands in drawing. But he resorted to having these dolls and taking pictures of them and having showings for the pictures. Now, it might sound a little interesting, but let's take it a step further. In this film, we're basically in two different worlds. We're in Mark's actual world, where he has a very difficult time dealing with people, dealing with the community. He kind of sticks in his own bubble and the people that he's very comfortable with, and he doesn't tend to venture outside of that too much. And then we've got the lives of the doll. So he has, of course, a different persona with his doll, which of course is called Hoagie. Now, it's very interesting because, again, on the surface, this could look a little silly, but it actually is a really interesting commentary on PTSD and how people deal with traumatic episodes in their lives. And of course, it's based on a true story, so if this is what the guy's doing in his real life, I'm not going to knock it. So I found that aspect of the story to be very interesting and very compelling. Now, the supporting cast in this movie is pretty strong. Leslie Mann plays the neighbor who just moved in across the street, who's caught Mark's interest. Janelle Monáe's in this, although in her real form, she's in it for a minute, and then we see the doll form of her throughout the film. So I found the whole aspect of the film and the story refreshing, but the execution I didn't feel as strong. There's some definite cringy-worthy moments in the film, which again, if it relates to how things were, then fine. But to me, from a viewing standpoint, it was just awkward seeing some of the things that Mark would go through, specifically with his relationship with the Leslie Mann character. The other thing as well is that I felt that there was way too much focus on the doll part of the story as opposed to the main part of the story. The main plot, well, one of the main plot lines is the fact that the men that viciously beat Mark are going to be going to court, and they're going to be sentenced, and the people in his life want him to go and speak up at their sentencing hearing. That's a big part of the story, but the payoff for that aspect of the story, I didn't find lived up to all the hype getting him to that moment. So that aspect was disappointing as well. Overall, story great, execution not so much, and I give this film a C+. I'm not saying that you shouldn't see Welcome to Marwen, but I don't necessarily know if you need to make it a priority. If you get a chance to see this film, let me know what you think. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WittyWhittier, and WittyWhittier.com. Thank you so much for checking this out. My name is Keith, and I'll see you at the movies.